Thanks. Here's your script lightly paraphrased as requested. Same structure, tone, and flow. Just some rewording and slight shifts in sentence construction. In August 1914, all the major European powers had already declared war. Germany had long anticipated the possibility of a two-front war, facing the French and British in the west and the Russians in the east. To address this, Germany developed the Schlieffen Plan, which aimed to launch a swift attack on France first, before turning attention to Russia. The British and French, aware of this strategy, quickly began mobilizing their troops to counter the German forces, whose plan involved marching through Belgium to reach Paris directly. The German advance was halted by the British and French forces near the Marne River, just a few kilometers from Paris. Despite this setback, Germany managed to expand its control in areas close to the English Channel. Meanwhile, on the Eastern Front, Russia launched an offensive against the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which they viewed as the weakest opponent. Their strategy was to head straight for Berlin and force a German surrender. However, this advance was stopped by a defeat at Tannenberg, preventing the Russian invasion of Germany. Still, Russia didn't come away empty-handed. They scored a major victory over the Austro-Hungarians by seizing control of Galicia. Given the situation, both sides began searching for new allies. The Central Powers persuaded Turkey, an old rival of Russia in the Black Sea, to join their alliance. In response, the Triple Entente secured Italy's involvement in the war by promising territorial gains from the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Italy's primary goal was to march toward Vienna. The result? A failure, and the opening of a new front, the Alpine Front. By the summer of 1915, the Russian army faced disaster. A coordinated offensive by German and Austro-Hungarian forces pushed them into retreat, resulting in the loss of key territories. At the same time, Bulgaria, seizing the opportunity presented by the Austro-Hungarian offensive against Serbia, joined the war, claiming territories it had long disputed. With Russia still recovering, the joint Austrian and Bulgarian offensive steamrolled through Serbia, Montenegro, and Albania. These victories in the east boosted the German High Command's confidence. They planned a decisive blow against the British and French, aiming to break their trench lines by concentrating massive military force at Verdun. But the French held on for 4 long months, buying enough time for a French-British counteroffensive along the Somme River. This was intended to divert German pressure away from Verdun. Both battles dragged on for months and turned into bloody slaughters, with hundreds of thousands of casualties on each side. Yet neither delivered a decisive breakthrough. Meanwhile, Russia seized the moment to launch General Brusilov's offensive, successfully reclaiming some lost ground. Amid this, Romania attempted to invade Austria, but a swift Austro-Hungarian counteroffensive forced them back, costing Romania nearly half its territory. 1917 marked a turning point, not so much because of Greece joining the Entente or Italy's devastating defeat at Caporetto, but due to 2 critical developments. First was the entry of the United States into the war, likely motivated by economic interests, as the U.S. had lent massive sums to France, Britain, and Russia. If the Entente lost, those loans might never be repaid. So the U.S., bringing limited but valuable human and industrial resources, aligned itself with the Entente. Second was Lenin's decision to withdraw Russia following the Bolshevik victory in the Russian Revolution that November. By signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, the new Soviet government ceded vast territory and nearly a third of its population to the Central Powers. By 1918, Germany had secured the Eastern Front. With one front effectively closed, it could now focus its forces on the West. However, they had to leave over 1 million troops behind to maintain control over their newly acquired eastern territories. This weakened their 1918 spring offensive against the French and British, an effort meant to strike before the full arrival of American troops. As a result, it failed to bring the decisive victory they had hoped for. Finally, in the summer of 1918, with American forces fully deployed, the Allies launched a major offensive against the Central Powers. The relentless Allied advance triggered a domino effect, leading to the complete collapse of the Central Powers. both the Austro-Hungarian and German emperors abdicated. A German republic was declared, and the Austro-Hungarian Empire gradually fragmented into independent nations. The war had ended. But the peace process that followed would prove to be as grueling as the conflict itself.